Hello, welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack, and this is the latest episode of the United Community Podcast. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done one, and it's good to be back, and we've got plenty to talk about. As you can see from the title of the video, Sesko in. It looks like he is Manchester United's first choice going forward, and he is going to be prioritising that number 9 role. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Is Rasmus Hojlund going to go in the opposite direction? Some reports have suggested yes. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We've got updates as well, guys, on the goalkeeper situation. And we get the guys' opinion on all of these as always. Anthony to Saudi Arabia. And Chris is going to give us a lovely insight into Hojlund from Sporting Lisbon, who United supposedly have had a €40 million bid rejected for. But as always, we've got Chris, we've got Oisín, and we've got Ben. Good to see you as always, guys. Has the positivity changed over the last couple of weeks since we've been live? Maybe, you know, we've got a signing in the door, Chris. We've got a potential number 9 coming as well. Is it easier being a Manchester United fan the last maybe week or so?
No, it's not easier. I mean, I'm upset. I'm still upset because we said as long as we have Emblemo in for the tour, and he couldn't play the first game because he wasn't fit enough. So therefore, that whole thing just backfired in itself.
And he's not going to play the second game either.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm all excited to watch the game, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, like he's not even, and he's not playing tonight in Chicago and against Bournemouth tonight. It's just like really. But I mean, am I happy that we're talking about a number 9? Absolutely. Am I happy with the number 9 we're talking about? Not really. Like I like him. I'm not gonna. I use the term. I mean, what's the big difference between him and Hojlund? To be honest with you, like, I mean, is he?
Right, don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun. Right, you're happy. You're not happy. Right, we'll get into Sesko in a minute. All right. Okay. Don't jump the gun.
Am I happier? Yes, but I don't love how long it's taking for all of this. I really don't. That's my biggest thing is that, and I don't know what the reason is behind all, like, why do we have to do one deal at a time? Why can't we have, I mean, did we cut so many people out that we can only do one deal at a time? Like, I mean, I don't know, like, are we doing skeleton crew that we can't work on more than one deal at a time? I do like the fact that at this point, we're kind of putting Leipzig and Villa up against each other because you're kind of talking to Watkins and Sesko and kind of, seeing if we can get the best deal. But
yeah,
other than that, am I real happy with what we're going to talk about later? I'm extremely happy. I'm going to be so happy. If that happens, I won't say a bad word about Ineos for at least 6 months.
Right, Oisín, I want to ask you and pick up on something Chris said about, doing multiple deals at the same time. We've spoken about this before. Is it a case maybe that we are trying to do it when we hear about bids being rejected for midfielders while we're going for a striker, talks of a goalkeeper with Lemens and nonsense then as well coming out about the likes of Donnarumma and stuff like that? Is there a case maybe where this transfer window has just needed the first few dominoes to fall before things start to kick into overdrive, maybe?
I think Ineos were banking on being able to sell the guys we were getting rid of easily. I don't think they were going to think it was going to take this long into the window. And now that we've only got a month less to the start of the league and the closing of the window, I think now they're starting to panic. And they're starting to just throw stuff around, which may have been their targets originally, but they were hoping to get people out the door first. Now they don't have that. That's not happening, but not the way they want to, not as quick as they want to. So now I think they're just starting to kind of go, okay, we need this guy. Let's just start those things moving now. So I don't think it's as planned as they're letting us believe it is, but I think it's something they were planning to do. The players that they're looking at was their plan, but not in how they're going about it. That makes sense.
And where, Oisín, do you think this money has come from? Because we heard it from so many journalists over the last few months suggesting that United have enough for 2 and we have to sell them before we buy. Is it a case where they may be confident in moving on a couple of players before the end of the window, and that's why we're making a move now? Or are they going, right, get out the bloody credit card?
Well, look, we've heard all along they've got 120 million in credit. And I think there's no reason they've got to dip into that. Ideally, you would be selling players to buy, and you'd be selling the players that we want to sell for as close to their market value as we can. But if we're talking 50 million for the likes of Sancho, that wouldn't buy Sesko's right foot, you know? But they're going to have to go into credit, and they're going to have to look at other ways of doing it, revenue streams of doing it. So I think literally where they found that money, the question you asked, is their credit card. It has to be. There's no other explanation in my mind for it. But Chris was asking me why I'm wrong now.
Oshin, did you not? I don't mean to interrupt, but I don't know if it's true. But I did see something that flashed across that they just signed $100 million deal with Paramount Plus to go on the shirt.
I heard that was absolute bullshit.
I don't know if that was true or not, but that's why
I did see a meme about it last night that the Paramount Mountain would go on their sleeve. But then they had to do something. Paramount had to have access for them for like a behind the scenes doc, and
which we already knew that was kiboshed already, wasn't it?
So I think that was a bit of paper talk, internet talk.
I just wondered because I didn't know
open to correction. Absolutely open to correction. And if we do get the 100 million, spend it wisely and correctly. Yeah. Don't just give the Glazers another yacht somewhere and visiting Chris down below in Tampa Bay, like.
They don't like
right. Before you start killing each other, let's actually talk about some of the news here tonight. Right, we're going to talk a little bit, and Ben, I'm going to give you first dibs on this because we know how. I mean, you were probably the first to say about Ollie Watkins, but it looks like Benjamin Sesko is going to be the one that Manchester United are prioritising. David Ornstein has said today that United are prioritising Benjamin Sesko if striker signed this summer. 22-year-old now preferred option for Manchester United. An informal contact made with RB Leipzig. The Slovenia international also remains top target for Newcastle United. First of all, before we start slagging Newcastle United, because I mean, if they have another player choose somebody else, it's oh my God, I hate to be a Newcastle fan. But Ben, talk to me about Benjamin Sesko a little bit. Obviously you're a big Ollie Watkins fan, and I said the same. I think he's probably the safer bet. But how do you feel about United prioritizing another 22-year-old who, has only scored 20 goals once in his career, and that was in the Austrian second division?
I think the only reason it is the favourite is the payment plan. Installments will probably be smaller for him, won't it, through the season? I think that's with the signings that we're making now. We're making moves because we're making installments on players. So the 120 million that we've got, we're not actually spending it all, are we? We're doing installments.
Yes.
Which is why they're not scared, because they're probably thinking, later on in transfer window, these players will leave. I'm not upset we're getting Sesko. We're getting a striker in what we've been asking for. And
is there a case, Ben, that it's because I've mentioned this whole kind of project signing, where he's not the finished article, and we've seen United buy two Premier League proven players who are in their prime. Is there a worry that United are going to go down the same road again with Sesko? I don't think it's going to end up like Hojlund. I really don't. But is there a worry that it may take a year or two for him to kind of bed in and start scoring, consistently?
Yeah, of course there is. But same as you've just said, though, he's probably got better players behind him now. Hojlund came in, didn't he? Nobody was with him. He had all the pressure. Whereas now there's goal scorers in the team apart from just Sesko.
Yeah.
So the weight probably won't be as much on his shoulders like Hojlund's had.
Yeah, it's a good point. Chris, you said at the very start that you're not particularly happy about this. Give us your reasoning behind why you're not happy. Are you not going to be on board with him coming in if it is going to be him to be the striker?
No, again, if he's a United player, I'm going to support him. I mean, that's just the way that one goes. I mean, is he my first pick? No, I would rather have Ollie Watkins. I mean, Ben brings up a good point about the payment plan. Maybe Villa wants 40 up front, or this, that, and the other, and that's why you're not going. Because if they do get rid of Ollie Watkins, they have to replace him. So they're going to have the money to do that. And we know that Villa is a little strapped at the anyway. So that could be a big reason why. I mean, my problem with Sesko is 22 years old, unproven, scored. I just looked up his stats. He had 21 goals in all competitions last season. He had 4 in the Champions League, 4 in I think the German Cup or whatever they call that, like the FA or whatever. And then he had 11 or he had 12 or 11 in the Bundesliga. Like, to me, that's not an accomplished striker. Like, that's not. I mean, I watched some highlights and videos of him. I mean, he's a monster in the air, and he's a big kid, 6'5", and everything like that. But I don't know if the word clinical comes to terms when you talk about him in front of the net. So, but I also just looked up something. When Gyökeres went to Sporting, he was only 24 years old, and look what Amarin did with him. Yeah. So I can say that's a positive, because maybe if you profile Gyökeres and Sesko, maybe they're kind of similar in how they play, and maybe he can get the same thing out of him. But there's going to be a big learning curve for him coming in. I mean, we've not seen many players come from Europe to the Prem and hit the ground running. Like, a lot of them have a learning curve. Look at Joshua Zirkzee. He came in and, look, this year he looks like a friggin', like he went to the gym all summer long, because you saw pictures of him. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he's trimmed down. You can see definition and the fitness training and everything like that. Where, I mean, when he came, my buddy told me, like, when he first showed for Man United in the first game, he looked a little bit thick. Like when he first stepped out on the field, you're kind of like, that guy's in shape? No. But, I mean, so you look at that, and I don't think – I would rather have the proven striker in Watkins. Now, but like Ben said, if it's about payment plans and things, then we have to take that into consideration. But I'm happy we are buying. If we do end up getting Sesko, I'm happy we're buying somebody that is considered one of the top in the world at the position, or could be. So you're not buying someone out of nowhere and hoping you can turn him into something. Everybody regards him as one of the top players. Yeah. And you look at the Arsenal deal between Arsenal and Sesko and Gyökeres and Arsenal. Arsenal did it the right way, and they kind of bid for both of them and said, okay, well, we're going to go with Gyökeres unless you give us Sesko at a discount. They didn't, so they went with Gyökeres. I think, honestly, if Gyökeres or if Sesko, if Leipzig would have came down in their price a little bit, I honestly think Arsenal would have went with Sesko instead of Gyökeres.
Yeah, Arteta was a big fan of him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing for us.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But actually, like, we're talking about maybe the speed at which these kind of deals are being done. And we spoke about the domino effect, especially with the strikers. When one went, we're seeing the kind of the trickle-down effect of it, when we're talking Ekitike, you're talking Isak now is thrown into that mix as well. Sesko. Is there still, in your mind, a criticism towards Ineos for not getting a deal done sooner? Or, it seemed like Gyökeres was always going to go to Arsenal. It seemed like we were never going to go for Osman because he wouldn't lower his wages. Are we moving on to him? And again, I suppose the more I think about this, the more I can kind of see why we were so gung-ho for Delap early doors, because he was probably the only striker that was going to get done early. Is there still criticism in your mind about how long this is taken, or can you see the reason why it's taken this long?
Look, it's a flip of a coin, really, isn't it? I mean, I can see why they've waited. United aren't going to overpay, apparently, anymore, even though they just did with Mbeumo, but we'll park that and forget about it for now. But
we're not going to argue again over that.
No. We leave that as it was. Your house analogy fell apart that day. But I don't think United were going to be held to ransom for Osimhen's demands. That was never going to be a runner. You said Gyökeres always wanted Arsenal, which is true. I think he always wanted to go there. Flirted with United for a while, batted the eyelids at Amarim and said, come get me. It was never going to happen. So I think United were waiting for, as you say, the dominoes to fall. And I can see why. But the issue is now what's left, the pickings that left. they don't excite me. I mean, as Chris said, Sesko's 22. Gyökeres went to Sporting at 24 and Amram changed him. There's not the same spotlight on Lisbon as there would be on United.
True.
So you're coming in at 22 to United. He's going to come in on a big price tag as well, even if it is paid over installment. He's going to come in on big money. And we're giving out about Hojlund, who came in on 60-something million. He's going to come in on much more than that. And if he doesn't hit the ground running early doors, we're in trouble. I would like to go for Watkins too. I think his numbers obviously his numbers aren't brilliant, but he's Premier League proven. Sesko being 6'5", I don't know, is that a bonus for us apart from corners and free kicks? We don't play wingers who get down the line and cross the ball in for a 6'5" header. We are now cutting inside, and Amarin's play isn't about going down the outside and crossing balls in. But I think Sesko is the best of, or he's the best of what's left. I don't think we're going to get Isak. Newcastle are not going to sell Isak to us. Yeah. I don't even know if he's going to go to Liverpool. And if he does go to Liverpool, then we're in trouble because Newcastle will have the money to completely outbattle us when it comes to Sesko. And we might come around full circle to paying the full 60 million up front for Watkins, which we don't want to do. And that's a very roundabout way of saying I think we could have done it quicker, but I'm not sure the players we wanted to get were available when we want to go get them.
I think we have to do it quicker now with Sesko. I mean, I think if we're going to do it, we have to do it quicker, because if something develops with Isak and they get the money for Isak, I mean, Newcastle, barring the players saying no to Newcastle, but Jack, you brought up a good point in some of your videos, is that, you would think he would already wanted to go to, he would already been at Newcastle if he wanted to go there. I think
they presented their plan to him a week ago.
Yeah. And I think that would have progressed a little bit farther. So maybe he does want to come here, and maybe that's a Vavel thing, which is a good thing, but the term is, learner driver, you got someone that is not, he's not proven, and that's not, I'm sorry, that's not what we need. We did get two experienced players in Embuemo and Cunha behind them. But again, you're going to bring in a guy, and let's say we sign him by the end of next week. Do we think he's going to be ready? He is playing in Leipzig. He played in the last game. He came in and everything like that. But is he going to be ready for the start of the season? I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I look, I think I'm in agreement with Ollie on wanting Watkins over Sesko. I think Man United don't need not that they don't need another unproven player, but we need to limit the risk as much as possible. Given where we finished last season, given no European, and look, maybe no European football is maybe a blessing in disguise for somebody like Benjamin Sesko, where he's coming in, he's got a year to bed in, and obviously we want to be back there, and you want to finish as high up the table as you can. I think he's similar to Gyökeres. I just checking, because Sesko is a big chap. He's 1.95 meters. I don't know why it's given it to me in meters, but 1.95 meters, and Gyökeres is 1.89. So there's not an awful lot of difference between them. And maybe that's what Amram is looking at, the type of profile that he had with Gyökeres. Seeing some of the highlight reels of him and stuff, he's lightning fast. He is able to cover the ground, getting in behind, and so on and so forth. And look, I don't think it's a bad thing that we've got a big guy up there who, with set pieces, can add a bit of threat as well. But the main concern is, can he do it consistently and lead the line for Manchester United as a 22-year-old? I worry about it. I really do. But
and I've heard other people talk about, well, it's better for, what is it? I always have trouble saying, multiplication of, because when he at 22, if he signs 5 years, he's going to be 27. He's going to be worth a lot. But do you really think that we're going to be able to? How's the fan base? If we develop someone at 22 years old, and when they turn 27 or 26, we really want to sell him if he's that good?
I don't.
That's my whole argument against that. It's like, if we have someone at 26, 27 that is now hitting the ground running, you're going to get the Ronaldo effect. Like all of a sudden he's going to leave and go somewhere else and be really, really good for the second part of his career. Or are we going to, because we're not a selling club. We all know that. We don't. And so that's my question is like, oh, well, we want to, like Ineos, we want to buy young. And so that means in 5 years time, you're going to sell them for sure. Like,
yeah, like I don't get caught up in this whole, sell on value, what people were saying with Ollie Watkins and stuff. And they mentioned, there's an awful lot more sell on value with Sesko in 3 or 4 or 5 years time. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? All I care about was goals. And if he scores goals, then brilliant, and if he scores goals, then United hopefully will start winning things. And if we start winning things, hopefully he won't leave, So, and as well, we're fucking shit at selling, regardless. You know what I mean? We're crap at it. So I wouldn't be getting caught up on how much we can get back for him in 4 or 5 years' time. I just think it's a non-starter.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know if you guys watched the game, the West Ham game, the friendly against West Ham. Like, Hojlund didn't play bad in that game.
No, he played good.
And I think, and that's just with Cunha being there and servicing the ball in the new way that we're playing and everybody being in the system. Like, that's without Embuemo playing there. Like, and I'm not saying that we keep Hojlund, we move it. No, but like he didn't. Like I saw stuff out of him that I didn't see last season. Like when he beat the defender at the first 6 minutes and rang one off the post. Like I didn't see that out of him last year.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I saw some things that I was happy with, and so I guess I don't know if you want to segue into if he's going to leave, then but that puts us back in the same situation. We've got one striker in, and we don't have a second.
Yeah. Well, let me talk about Hojlund for a second, because there are some reports suggesting that he could go to Leipzig to bring the price of Benjamin Sesko down. Now, look, a lot of the reports are suggesting that Hojlund doesn't want to leave and he wants to stay and fight for his place at Manchester United. And Oisin, you were talking there about, where's the money coming from? How do we pay for it? Is this United being smart if they can move him on to maybe get, how much could you get for Hojlund? Realistically, could you get 35, 40 million maybe for him, given his age? Or I don't know. Is this a way for United maybe to bring the price down a little bit?
You see, the thing about that is, as Chris was just saying, if we do that and we send Hojlund there, then we still have to go and buy a second striker at full price. So, the ideal situation there is you sell Hojlund for as much as you can, buy Sesko and buy a second, cheaper, possibly older striker will be what I would like to do. But if we can't move on the likes of Casemiro, how are we going to move on Hojlund?
Yeah,
and
I mentioned that on Monday night as well. About I see a lot of unrest online about not having players gone. You can't sell a player unless a bid comes in.
Yeah. No, 100%.
They can always say no. They have a contract for a reason. They don't have to go.
Yeah.
I don't. Did you guys catch Amaran's press conference where he talked about it? He goes, "Hey, we've already had this discussion. If we don't get the price we want, they're going to come back into the team, and there's going to be a lot of competition." I almost kind of welcome that to the fact that he's going to put those. Anthony aside, because I don't think Anthony has done anything wrong. Where Anthony was just not good enough for us, but the one thing about Anthony, he worked. His work rate was always high. He tried. He never was put his head down and never ran back or anything like that. But at the same time, the other guys, can you imagine the ringer that they're going to get put through? And I'm like, I'd sit in Carrington and just be like, I'd get my popcorn ready like this and just be like just waiting for it, because they're going to get a route. I think Amaran doesn't pull any punches. He's going to.
But to be honest with you, Chris, I think that's all for sure with Amaran. The fact that he's saying they'll be brought back in. We seen what he done at Sporting when he literally gutted that whole squad. I think did he get rid of, between players' contracts ending and selling players and loaning out, he got rid of something like 23 or 24 players in the first year. I think in the first 12 months. I think Amaran's just being nicey to it, but there's no way he's going to disrupt I suppose, what they're trying to build there and the atmosphere and the camaraderie. And you see how well Cunha in the clips in training is fitting in, and he's jovial and he's laughing with everybody. He's not going to put a fucking Jadon Sancho back into that squad. Absolutely no way. You know what I mean?
Get it. But the other thing is, like what Oshin was talking about, maybe they know about a bid that's coming in from Saudi Arabia for Anthony that he's going to end up taking, which, I mean, they throw money around like it's nothing. So it's like, all of a sudden now if we're getting 60 for Anthony, and then that could very well fund a lot of what's going on, because they know, hey, we have this waiting in the wings, and we just have to get it sorted out. I mean, I think that they have to know something, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't just
they obviously know an awful lot more than, like, we're reporting on what's in the media and what's out there, but like, there's no way there's people not in contact with other clubs about, moving players on and bringing players in. It's not the case that Fabrizio Romano knows it 5 minutes after United pick up the phone. You know what I mean? He probably knows it a week after there's been negotiations going on. But Ben, I want to ask you really quick before we move on from Hojlund. Do you think it's necessary that we sell him outright? Or, because obviously we've spoken before about, is there a scenario that he plays as the backup option with the pressure off of him a little bit and maybe give him a year? Or do you think, look, let's cut ties, let's try and sell him? Because, and like Oshin said only a few moments ago, there is only a month to go in the transfer window. So, are we going to sell Hojlund and then go for a number 2 who is, after seeing us getting Sesko in, and goes, oh, do I want to be a backup? Or is it probably the more likelier that Hojlund just stays put for a year?
I'd be happy with him staying put for a year if we get another striker in, to be honest with you. I think it's about the bids that come in for him, like you say. Would you accept 35 million for him and get rid, knowing that we've only got one striker? Yeah. If you can't get another one in.
Yeah. Well,
so
and then
I'd keep him. If we're not going to go and get somebody else, it's just Sesko, I'd keep him for a year.
Yeah. And it's probably too soon for Cheeto to be the backup striker then as well.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Keep him away at minute.
Yeah.
Get him in cup games. I'd probably pay him in cup games to start with. Like
Exactly. So Chris finishes out then on the striker kind of segment here. Progress, if Sesko comes in, obviously, look, we're going to be talking about a forward line by the looks of it of Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko. If Sesko does come, surely that's, and I think everyone would say that it's a huge upgrade on last season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if I will be more excited for that than, Mbeumo, Cunha, and Hojlund at that point. I mean, Sesko is, he's good. He's a good player, and I think that there's a lot of promise to him. I mean, let's be honest. He was sought after, which, let's be honest, Hojlund was not sought after when we went and got him from Atalanta. Like, no one, like, you're gonna buy who? Like, what? Who's that guy? Like,
for how much?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how much? What you do? Did you get drunk one night and sign a check? What happened? But it's like, I don't like. I like Sesko. I mean, there's been whispers around him for many years. Like, we've scouted him for a long time. People have gone in for him. Arsenal had a real,
real good look at him.
Yeah, and I think other clubs have looked at him too. So I think it's not like we're pulling something out of thin air or anything like that. So, but again, it's a better line. Because at least last season he scored goals. And everything. None of our forwards scored goals last season. Let's just be honest. We didn't.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Ben, though. Like, I feel bad for Hojlund that now if Sesko comes in, he gets to play with a better squad in a better atmosphere than what Hojlund got put in with. And I feel bad for him. Like, do I still think Hojlund could be leading I honestly think Hojlund is years away from leading a line. I think he needs to be a number 2. I'd like to keep him. And, because the one thing about Hojlund is we've known is that he'll fight for a spot. He'll put the effort in. Is that such a bad thing? And we know he's not on high wages, so maybe it is okay to have him and have Sesko and him battle it out and everything like that. Maybe have him learn, and not everything be handed to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, want to move it on a little bit then. We mentioned Anthony. I'll go to you on this one, Oisín, and obviously, look, some of the reports over the last few days have suggested Saudi Arabia are coming in for him, and I said on Monday night, surely it's our turn to get some of the Saudi money. Everyone else has gotten a piece of the pie, and we haven't. Now, look, supposedly, them reports were saying United wanted 50 million. Other reports then today are suggesting that United want 30. Supposedly he's rejected a bid to move back to Sao Paulo and Saudi Arabia, and that he only wants Real Betis as his next club. United want 30 million and not another loan. I mean, the concern here is, and again, especially when, and again, I'd like to get your opinion on this as to whether it was a good idea or a bad idea to leave the likes of Anthony at home from pre-season to find a new club. Does that allow clubs then to just go, we'll just wait until the end of the window? What the fuck? Sorry. We'll just wait until the end of the window or a week to go where we know United want to move him on. Yeah, I mean, is there a question in there? I don't know, but give me your thoughts on Anthony, and how quickly we can move him on.
Well, I think Anthony wanting to only go to Betis doesn't work in our favor because Betis cannot afford him. And they haven't hidden that fact. They just want another loan with an option to buy, not an obligation. Yeah. I think the option is something like 25 million euros, which is what, 17, 18 million pounds, which is
for nothing.
Ridiculous return. But they will cover all his wages. He's not on a huge amount, but okay, that's something. We're just not getting that Saudi money yet, Jack. We just have to keep trying for it. Leaving the players at home, I think we could have bought Anthony to put him in the shop window, maybe, if that's what you're saying. Leave Sancho there, Rashford there, Garnacho. Like Chris was saying, the troublemakers. Anthony hasn't been a troublemaker.
Yeah.
He's just not been good enough. And that's nobody's fault, but he just hasn't been good enough. And he hasn't been good enough because of the price tag we had to pay for him, because of how late we left the transfer go through. If we'd got Anthony originally for the 45 million they were looking for originally,
I think it was as low as 30, maybe. I could be wrong.
But 45 million seems to be the going rate for average players now, even. You know what I mean? That seems to be the baseline for players. So even at 45 million, it wouldn't have been too bad a buy. But the 87 or whatever we ended up paying for him was just absolutely scandalous. And okay, when he first came and the first couple of games, he kind of showed a bit of promise. And then
did he score 3 and 3? I think in his first 3 games he scored. I think.
Yeah, he scored against Arsenal on his debut. Did he?
On his debut, and done like 6 different celebrations.
Yeah, but we said at the time he was too easily figured out in that league. He had one trick. Well, he had 2 tricks really. He could spin the ball and cut inside, and that was it. And then have a mad celebration.
I never felt so bad. Remember when he done that little spinneroonie trick and then passed it and gave it away, and the camera just goes to Ten Hag and he's just sitting in the dugout and you just see him just going like that, just absolutely devastated.
But he knew he was like at fucking Ajax. Why did he have to? But I don't think Anthony would have been bad to bring with us to put in the shop window and try and sell. I think he'd do well in these kind of preseason games and really make a good account for himself. And then we might have been able to up the price. We're not going to get 50 million for him. That's just a silly amount of money to be asking for. But I can't see us selling him to Betis. If that's where he wants to go, then it might be alone with the money off the books with a pittance coming in next June.
Yeah, and we
Being
heard
realistic and pessimistic about it. That's kind of where it's looking to going towards.
Yeah, and we heard some reports, Ben, about Atletico Madrid. But again, you're falling back into the. I mean, we're not hearing anything. We're not hearing anything about, anybody talking to his agents about fees or a package or whatever the case may be. When it comes to money being generated and sales coming in, we are running out of time a little bit here to move players on. If you do want to go out and reinvest, if we're talking about a midfielder, a new goalkeeper, whatever the case may be, do you think realistically with how slow the transfer window has gone in parts that we can get these business or these deals done before, I suppose, the 1st of September?
Yeah, I think we can. Like you say, though, we've got to wait for clubs, haven't we? It's out of our hands. It's out of Manchester United's hands, isn't it? They've got to come to us, and I want that player.
Yeah.
So, like you say, could it be the last week where they all come in? Or we'll offer you patents for him, you either accept it or we're not having him.
Yeah. Well, you started that answer with "it can," and Mick McCarthy just flashed into my head. Mick, can I get any worse? It can.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like you say, we've just got to wait for teams to come. You can't force somebody to sign somebody, can you?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Chris, with I suppose how Amram is reforming this squad, and we said, I think was it last week I mentioned or whenever that he's selling the same type of player, the wide players, the Sanchos, Rashfords, Garnachos, and Anthony's, them wide forwards. And I want to touch maybe a little bit on Garnacho with you before we move on. These were players that we were banking on getting some decent money in. And I know, look, it might not be the easiest of topics, but these were players that we were banking on getting good money in for. And the longer they drag on, the less likely it is that we get what we're owed or what we at least rate them to be. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Anthony the Bennett thing is, I mean, I hope that, he'll reconsider because, the stuff that I've read that he's on the edge somehow of the Brazilian squad. So he needs to play. Okay. I mean, Sancho is Sancho. We know that we're going to take a hit on that regardless. Rashford's moved on. We got rid of his wages. More great, at that point. Garnacho is a mutt. Like, he just, nobody wants him. Like, I have other friends that are Chelsea fans, and they're scared. They're like, we hope to God we don't buy Garnacho. And I'm like, I hope to God that you do. Because, I don't, like, everybody's like, oh, we don't want him to go to another Premier League club. Why? What's he going to do for them that he didn't do for us? Like, miss the goal? That's what he did. I mean, he's going to score one worldly goal that then everybody's going to, sing the praises of him and everything. Like, I don't even think he gets in the Chelsea squad if he plays.
Yeah, well, but the concern about Garnacho now is because we spoke it was Chelsea and they look to be going for Xavi Simons, quite heavily as well.
They still want to bring him in as well.
Yeah, and we spoke as well about Aston Villa as a potential destination for him because he wants to stay in the Premier League. Now that we're moving away from Watkins, Villa are skint. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be able to afford Garnacho unless they move Watkins on. Now, if we get Sesko, is Watkins going to go to Newcastle? Well, I mean, that's kind of a sideways step more than anything else.
At least he has Champions League football. I mean, if Watkins goes to Newcastle, at least he has Champions League football that he can bank on at that point.
Yeah.
I mean that's the silver lining, if you want to say that you could make the move not so much sideways, but a little bit.
I still think Aston Villa are probably in a better place. But like if you're talking Unai Emery, they're in the Europa League. I think they'd have a good chance, and we know how good Emery is in that. But obviously, Champions League football is a major pull.
I mean, honestly, in my view, and I think we're going to end up loaning out Garnacho because it would be smart for us. I know we want to sell him and get money in for him. It would be smart for us to give him to someone like Unai Emery on a loan.
Oh, so right. Hold on a sec. We've had a pretty significant update from David Ornstein here about Sesko. Let me put it up on the screen here. Breaking news. RB Leipzig's asking price for Benjamin Sesko is €75 million guaranteed. Plus add-ons and percentage of future sale. Fee expectation communicated to suitors for 22-year-old. Man United pursuing, but no agreement yet with Leipzig or Slovenia forward. Right. Chris, €75 million guaranteed. Now, is that guaranteed in one lump sum, or I would presume you can do that in installments?
I think it's scary. I don't think anybody does any. I mean, I was listening to a guy earlier this morning that talked about transfers, and they said hardly any transfers all in one lump sum. Everybody breaks it down. They just want to make sure within the parameters of, like, let's say we pay it off in 3 years, that they're going to get 75 million in 3 years. You know, I mean that, or if it's going to be 5 years or however, whatever the payments terms are, that they're going to get 75. It's the same thing with Embuemo. They wanted 62.5 guaranteed. Now, like what they say is maybe we'll do, and heaven forbid, maybe we pay 80, but they let us break it down into 5 years.
Yes, which we done with Ugarte.
Yes,
I want to say.
I mean, we pay a little bit more, so that way we can break it down in a longer period of time. So, I mean, 75 million, like,
I know it's high, isn't it, for another 22-year-old? It really, really is. But the one thing I would say,
it's a tough pill to swallow.
It is. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's in around, Oisín, the asking price or the amount for Cunha and for Embuemo. It's 75 million euros is 64.6 million pounds sterling. Give me your thoughts on that price for a 22-year-old and everything we've just said recently about him not being proven.
Well, look, I mean, Leipzig know that we're desperate for a striker, so they can ask for whatever they want. You know, we have left ourselves kind of open to the mercy of them. You know what I mean? 75 mil guaranteed. That's the striker tax as well. He's 22, so you're paying for the age. What's he got left in the contract? You're buying him out of that too. I mean, 75 isn't out there in terms of what we see players go for this transfer window. Yeah. He's more than what we can afford to buy. Does that push us back just on this, just thinking now off the top of my head, is this pushing us back towards Watkins because he's 15 million cheaper, guaranteed? Is that going to push us back that way? 75 for 22-year-old, where, I mean, this season of all seasons, United can't be banking on potential. We need to hit the ground running against Arsenal and continue for the whole season. We can't have, as Chris calls them, learner drivers trying to be the heroes for us. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to justify that, for me anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I mean, that's basically the price that they were quoting Arsenal. So they haven't put a United tax on there, because Arsenal, they were talking about Arsenal about like what you said, 60.
Oh, I didn't say United tax. I said striker tax.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying at least they're not trying to they're not. You know, it's like, oh, when someone else comes calling, we raise it by 10 million or 10 million.
And as well, on top of that, is that United are desperate for a striker, and they know that Newcastle could pay that in a heartbeat, because they'd move Isak for probably double that anyway. You know what I mean? Ben, 75 million euro for Benjamin Sesko, or like what Oisín was saying there, do we pivot back to Watkins? Let's take away the fact that we all want Watkins, but you know, from a financial standpoint, maybe the smarter move, do you think it is maybe a return to Watkins?
Yeah, but could there not be a deal with Garnacho going to Villa? Could you not just say to Villa, give us 40 million for Garnacho, right? Just for the PSR facts, the money's more into it, and then you could just say, "Oh, we'll give you 50 for Watkins."
No, because PSR will, if you do deals with players going in the same window, there's something about that they'll consider that a swap deal, and it'll hurt us PSR wise, even if they're two separate deals.
Even if they're fees.
Even though they're two separate deals, there's some clause or somehow that they qualify that as almost doing a swap deal. And that's why it's very hard to do that, where you're sending one player this way and one player that way. I mean, I'd have to do a little bit more research on it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that if you do that, the PSR ruling could say, they could step in and say, well, that's a swap deal. And you don't get that PSR for Garnacho at that point. That's
right. Well, look,
let me do my research on that, and I'll follow up next week. But
Yeah, don't you be coming on here fucking spouting shit without doing your research, all right? But look, nonetheless, guys, things seem to be moving, quite fast. When we're hearing, I mean, David Ornstein doesn't tweet twice into one day about the same player if things are not moving in a certain direction. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it's also less than we paid for pretty much every person who has flopped already. We paid more for Hojlund. I think we paid. Did we pay more for Xerxes? No, we didn't pay more for Xerxes. I just think, again, being the ever optimist, I think it could work out to be a very good deal if he scores goals. And it's all down to him scoring goals. It's as simple as that. If he comes in and scores goals, 65 million for a striker that you could potentially get 8-9 years out of is absolutely fantastic. But I'm worried. I'm worried that we're going down the road of another project player. That's my main concern. And if it is the case and he doesn't hit the ground running, and we know the pressure that's going to be there, if he starts up front, right, against Arsenal, and Gyökeres starts up front for them, and Gyökeres scores 2 and Sesko doesn't score, you fucking tell me what they're going to be talking about on TalkSport the following morning. They're not going to be talking about Gyökeres scoring 2. They're going to be talking about Sesko not scoring at all, and that's the big concern. It could go either way, but I am worried. I'm worried that it won't work out and we will find ourselves in 2 years' time looking for a striker again. Name me the last striker we had that lasted more than 2 seasons, really performing well. I mean, you'd probably have to go all the way back to Rooney. When you think about it, Van Persie done it for 1 season. Ibra done it for 1 season. Cavani done it for 1 season. Ronaldo done it for 1 season. Martial never done it at all. Hojlund never done it at all. The
only 2 I could think of was Rooney and Ruud van Nistelrooy. You know what I mean? Now, you could say someone like Louis Saha, who played with us for 4 or 5 years, but was injured a bit but maybe consistently got double figures when he was fit. But we haven't had a striker for a 3 or a 4 year period for 20 years. You know what I mean? Since Wayne Rooney. And that's the big concern. We need to get this right. We need to get it right as quickly as possible.
I mean, if you, let's just say you paid, let's just round it to 80 and say you paid 20 million a year for the next 4 years. Is that better than paying 40 million up front to Villa for Watkins?
But would you have to pay Villa up front? That's the question. Could you get Watkins for 12.5 over 4 years? Or
I'm guessing. I'm thinking yes, only because they need the money to go out and reinvest. And so I don't, because they need money. We know that. It's been well documented that they need to sell and everything like that. So I don't know how that works as far as, do they want it all up front so they can go out and buy someone else that they can say, okay, well, you want this, we'll give you this. We have that money right now to replace it. Now, the question is, I've listened to a lot. I have another friend that's a Villa fan, and, they do have Daniel Mallon, and they do have guys that they bought last winter that they may not have to necessarily right now, like get someone for Watkins right now. They have people that can play. So, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean,
D says on paper we need to pay Villa up front because of their financial situation, but he wouldn't actually need to pay all of it up front. Right? Okay. Nonetheless, you would be able. What we're kind of getting at here is that you would more than likely be getting Sesko in installments more so than you would Sesko. But anyway, look, we'll leave it there on Sesko for the moment. I want to ask you before we finish up, guys, about pre-season and about how you think it's going. More than anything else, there seems to be, obviously following some of the interviews that the players are doing, and Luke Shaw spoke yesterday about how different Amram is, and he was quite scathing about previous not managers but maybe regimes, and that it's different now. What's your overall, I'll ask you Oisín first, what's your overall feeling about pre-season? Obviously we've had 2 games, I suppose, but 1 over in America. What's your overall feeling so far?
I suppose games aside, because I mean you can never really judge preseason games. They're just they just are what they are. They're more exhibition games now for the Yanks than what they're anything else. Is that right, Chris? but
America.
But I mean the squad.
Did you see how many people we brought in for that one game?
No, that was
there
live.
does seem,
that was live.
No.
That was live.
No,
there
was
was
82.
There wasn't. That was debunked. That was the capacity of the stadium. There was 51,000 in the stadium. The whole upper tier was closed.
Not whole, half of it.
Half of it, sorry. Anyway, back to
Oisín.
Enough with you, American there. Be quiet.
That like holds over 120. They don't, it's not 80. They don't, we don't build stadiums that hold less than 100 for football. For American football.
Bigger and better over in America, huh?
Why would they go to a stadium that only holds 82,000 and spend $2 billion on that stadium? There's no way.
I should have said nothing, just kept going with my point.
What
the point I was getting to before I was rudely interrupted by someone is that there seems to be a togetherness about the team that we haven't seen in a couple of seasons. Everybody, I mean, for Luke Shaw of all people to come out and say how well things are going is just amazing. I mean,
Luke is just looking for a new deal.
You have to factor that in too, that he's kind of trying to play the good boy in school and say, pick me, sir, pick me, because he knows he's not going to get picked. And if an offer comes in, he'll be the first out the door. But for him to come out and say how well things are going says a lot, There seems to be a great partnership from what I could see in the highlights I saw of the West Ham game. Bruno and Cunha seem to play well off one another. Now, I know Bruno's not going to play where he played against West Ham going forward. He's probably going to play deeper again. But it just goes to show that there seems to be an understanding coming between them. And I'm kind of disappointed in Buemo's not playing tonight. I would like to have seen him play tonight and play Bruno and Cunha together. We'll get to see that hopefully against Everton, but I would like to have seen them get some more game time together on the pitch before we play Arsenal, because I think that's going to be they're going to be the
We have Fiorentina again. We have Fiorentina again. We have one more game after the American tour.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the more games they have together, the better chance they have of building up a more kind of a relationship. That
good thing we waited on that transfer though, Oisín, right?
Oh, don't fucking start now, man. Don't start. All right. This was a good podcast. All right.
Because they're going to be our 3 most important players this year. Because I mean, even if we do get Sesko in, Bruno, for better or for worse, is going to be our talisman again next year, and he is going to be the person we look to. Hopefully, not as often as we had to last season. But he is going to be an important player, and I would like to see that 3. It's almost like 2 triangles there with Bruno, Cunha, and Mbeumo, and then whoever's up front with Cunha and Mbeumo, they're going to be the most important players in the pitch for us next year. And I'd like to see them get more game time together. So if there was one thing I wasn't happy with over preseason, it will be that. And as we said earlier, if we do get Sesko, he's not going to play against Everton, obviously, or against Fiorentina. So his first game may not be against Arsenal because he may not be up to Amram's speed. So we might be waiting a couple of weeks to see him again.
Yeah, 100%. Big up Abdullah as well. 4 months as a member. Big up this channel. Glory, glory, Man United from Malaysia. Big up to you, Abdullah. And I like that Irwin at the end. It's not the same as Dennis Irwin, but it's fucking similar. I love it. Chris, give me a minute or two on Hojlund. Obviously, you spoke about him an awful lot in the past couple of weeks, and according to BBC Sport, United have had a €40 million bid rejected. They do want Sporting want €50 million for him. Also, a target from Juventus. Obviously, Ruben Amram knows this guy quite well. What if we are to get a player like him, or if we are to get him specifically, what are we to expect?
Danish Michael Carrick.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching the United Community Channel.
I mean, I've been saying, I'll be honest with you, I've watched him. He does a lot of what Michael Carrick. I mean, those are big shoes to fill and everything like that. But that's the way he plays. I mean, he can control the game. He knows how to progress forward. He knows how to sit back. He knows how to break press. I mean, he knows when to throw the ball forward. He's very smart. He's not overly the quickest person in the world, but I mean, he scored a nice goal against England, I believe, in the Euros. But I mean, he does have a nice long range shot. I mean, he's not afraid to mix it up. I think if we were to get Holman, I think the plan changes, and I think that Bruno gets moved out of the deeper line midfield. I think Bruno gets pushed to a 10. I think Mbeumo then gets pushed to more of a right wing back, which I watched an interview with Mbeumo, and he said that he'll play wherever. He likes to play out on the wing. He'll do whatever he needs to play. He'll do whatever he needs to do. I think you'll start to see a little bit more of that. Maybe not every game, because different teams you can afford to do different things, but I think Holman would give you that person. He'd be with Eric, like he'd be the Frankie de Jong for Eric Ten Hag, because he's the guy he's the machine. He's the guy that controls the midfield. Like, he's the one that he's not going to give the ball away cheaply. He's not flicks and tricks and everything like that. He's going to hold the ball. He's going to progress the ball. I mean, I think, I'll be honest with you, I've wanted him for 2 years. Like, because I've watched him, and he does everything. Well, I even watch him in Euros. He just controls the center of the park. And you can have Ugarte and everybody run around him and everything like that, but he's just calm, cool, collected, decent-sized fellow too. Adds a little bit of height in there, and he can make all the necessary passes, but yet he doesn't do anything cheaply. He has a good head on his shoulders. Not going to rush into tackles and get stupid yellow cards and do that kind of thing. He's. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, he's kind of captain material that you would want. Not real vocal. He's not Roy Keane now. Don't throw that one out there. But he's the kind of guy that you look to that keeps everything cohesive in the middle of the park.
Yeah, sets the tempo.
100%.
Right. I'll ask you yes or no. Then, is he worth 50 million euros?
100%.
All right. Okay then.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think we paid. You know how much I like Ugarte. I think we paid a little bit too much for Ugarte. But between him and Ugarte, they're two different types of players. Because Ugarte is the guy that he's going to go get the ball for you. He's going to win it. He's going to break up plays, and then he's the one that you give. Holman's the guy that takes the ball and then does something with it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's making that progressive pass. Like, if you look up in stats, he's got a lot of progressive passing. He breaks lines and everything like that. And he's not afraid. He's not just going to sit back. He's going to be at the top of the box, and he's going to be able to move the ball. And the other thing is, he can shoot from the top of the box. He's not. I mean, he's not going to just go left and right. He's going to make those passes to gut a defense.
Perfect. Right. I'm excited. When
I saw that, I was like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah. Right. We'll leave it there, guys. I appreciate you coming on as always. I was going to say you're staying up for the match, but Chris, you're obviously going to get to. It's a good time for you for once.
It's a little late. It's 9:30.
Oh, yeah, you poor creature. Yeah.
I usually go to the gym at 9:30, so I have to skip the gym to watch the match. So.
Oh no! Get out the beer and nachos, man. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Right, lads.
I'm surprised it was that late. To be honest, I thought it was going to be on at like 7. But...
Yeah, well, I was debating whether I stay up for it or not. But
come on, Jack, let's have some fun.
No, I'm watching. I'm working tomorrow, and I'm working while minding the kids. So no, I won't be staying up.
How's season going?
We had our first preseason game last night with a team from the division above us, and we drew 1-1 with them away from home. So happy with how it's going now. The squad has come together nicely. Yeah, I'm happy. Long way to go, but yeah,
We want to see some videos of the game so we can see the formation and stuff. So
Well, I played a 3-5-2 last night, and I started off playing a 4-3-1-2, but we didn't have enough width. Within 5 minutes, I had it changed. So I got a couple of wing backs on, put another centre defender in, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, we scored. So, you can call me, Mr. Amarim if you want. I don't mind.
Ted Lasso, as I would call you.
Yeah. Anyway, before this goes any further, we'll leave it there.
Did you hear the other news, though? The Wrexham made a bid for Ericsson?
I heard that, actually, yeah. That'd be a good move for him now, in fairness. You know what I mean? It would probably be the last move he made. If you're going, what are they in League One now?
League One, yeah.
League One, yeah, that wouldn't be too bad for him. Yeah, he'd probably get decent money there as well, I suppose. Right, guys, we leave it there. Thanks for coming on as always, and I'll chat to you during the week. All right, appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching as well, guys. If you haven't already done so, please do smash a like on the video. Helps the channel out an awful lot. Hit that subscribe button as well. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. I'll be back to, what day is today? Today is Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll do a match reaction pre-record tomorrow for the game. I'll watch the highlights in the morning, the extended highlights, and we get a match reaction up in the afternoon. And then I'll be back on Friday night then at 9 o'clock with a live news show. And if there's any breaking news between now and then about us signing players, of course, we'll be on it as always. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash a like in the video. Subscribe if you're new. I'll chat to you tomorrow. Have a good night. Take it easy.